winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights. We are the new kings, winning this fight tonight with our name lit up in lights.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. We've had our grill going for 75 years, and yep, it's still going. Whataburger, goodness 24/7.
It is week number 5 of this Texas high school football season, and it's time for Friday Night Stars, brought to you by Whataburger here at the Starring Frisco inside the Globe Life Studios. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. Yes, another season of Friday Night Stars. We like to get all that non-district stuff out of the way first, and now we get into the meat of the season right here. Take you all the way up to Thanksgiving week, and we look forward to it each and every week.
Yeah,
right?
You haven't gotten rid of us yet. We're back again for another year to talk about your favorite high school teams here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And I like this setup here because we get to sprinkle little playoffs in at the end. But right now, we get to kind of sift through what has already happened in the Texas high school football landscape. Some of the teams that have been surprised, some of the teams that have been disappointing to this point. We're going to hit both ends of it and talk about some of the best games and the best teams and the best student athletes in the area.
That's right, and we've got 4 games of the week here in this very first segment, starting with our featured Whataburger game of the week from District 7 4A Division 1. The Frisco Panther Creek Panthers traveling to Celina to take on the defending state champion and number 1 ranked Celina Bobcats. Panther Creek, though, Kyle, they are loaded with talent just like Celina.
Absolutely. Both teams are very, very talented, and they're ranked inside the top 6 in District 4A or Classification 4A at this point in the season for a very good reason. When you look at the Panthers specifically, they fell in this game last year to Celina at the Star in Frisco. I was on the call for that game. 42-7 was the final score, but they didn't have a guy like Graylin Fry running their offense. Currently completing 75% of his passes, over 1,000 yards passing, 17 touchdowns, and just 1 interception to this point in time. Fry is a difference maker, but he has some weapons to throw the football to as well. Wide receiver and 4-star commit to Oregon, Jalen Lott, is back. 6 foot, 175 pounds. He's just an absolute burner. Then you look on the defensive side of the ball, Texas Tech safety commit in Donovan Webb helps kind of patrol things over the top. And then they have Parker Ord at the tight end position for BYU. He is going to be playing for the Cougars moving forward. Then you look at the defending state champions, the Celina Bobcats, and they still look just as loaded as they were last year when they ran the table. Of course, everybody by this point knows about Bo Bentley, the Oklahoma quarterback commit, and what he brings to the table. Actually hasn't had the cleanest start to the season. Just 6 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He has thrown for over 1,000 yards, still completing 76% of his passes, but it hasn't been as dominant as what he would like to see, despite some of the talent that they have on that side of the football. This is their biggest test to this point, in my opinion, in terms of district play, and it probably will be their best test in district play this season.
Yes, taking on a Panther Creek team, an impressive victory last week over a perennial power. The Kennedale Wildcats, 56-17 was the final score. Panther Creek winning that one. And so that is our Whataburger game of the week this week. But how about we move up in rankings to the Class 6A rankings? And how about the way the Waxahachie Indians are playing this season? They knock off Duncanville last week. And now you take on the DeSoto Eagles.
It doesn't get any easier for the Waxahachie Indians. And I mentioned at the top of the show, surprising teams. Nobody should be surprised when Waxahachie plays as well as they have. But the fact that they took down Duncanville last week, 28-27 in come-from-behind fashion, that's all you need to say that the Indians are just built different this year. I mean, this is just a talented ball club from top to bottom. You start from the outside looking in. Cohen Brown, the wide receiver commit to Texas, helps lead the way. He's got Jalen Moore, who is also playing at a high level at the wide receiver position. I like what Legend Howell has done. He's got a great quarterback name, and he's a guy who's been receiving offers at the Division I level too. But overall, when you look at Waxahachie, the defense is what helped set the tone. They held Duncanville to just 17 yards rushing last week, and that's how they ended up winning that football game.
Wow, that is something else. And how about DeSoto? And, of course, they've got a guy who's been playing high school football for about 8 years now, in Ethan Booby Feaster.
Hey, he's the best name in football, and he continues to be one of the best players in Texas. They scored 67 points in 3 of their first 4 games of the year. The only game they did not was their only loss, and that was a 36-27 loss at the hands of another defending state champion, the North Crowley Panthers. They led at the half in that football game and just did not get the same result in the third and fourth quarter as they were hoping to. But don't sleep on the Eagles. You've got that USC 4-star wide receiver that you just mentioned, and Feaster. He's somebody that you can potentially lean on to go up against that vaunted Waxahachie defense for the most part. I'm really excited to see this matchup because DeSoto, people are overlooking them a little bit, and Waxahachie being lifted up a little bit after that win against Duncanville last week. Who is going to step up to the challenge?
And keep in mind, in that district last year, 11-6A, a killer district, Duncanville won it with an unbeaten 7-0 record. DeSoto was at 6-1, Waxahachie 5-2. Waxahachie trying to turn the tables, and they will have a leg up on everybody if they can come up with a second straight win over the Double D schools, Duncanville and DeSoto. Let's move to District 5-6A, where Coppell won last year at 7-0, trailed by Geyer in second place, but it's the Lewisville Fighting Farmers taking on the Flower Mound Marcus Marauders. It's the Battle of the X. It's a rivalry that's been going on for decades now.
This is one of the best rivalries in all of the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And it was a game that was really close last year as well, 27-21. Lewisville won that game. So let's start by talking about the Fighting Farmers. Last year, despite a couple turnovers, they had to rely on a halfback pass to win this game in this matchup last year. They're coming off a bye week, and they last beat Rockwall, who, of course, just pulled one of the biggest upsets in the state this past weekend by beating North Crowley. So if that tells you anything, Lewisville has some talent on both sides of the football. I look at guys like Xavier Fleming, who's committed to Houston. He's a defensive lineman. He helps set that tone at the line of scrimmage. He's a 3-star, 6-foot, 300-pound defensive tackle that's going to muddy up the middle and make things tough on this Flower Mound Marcus squad that, of course, wants to run the football. You talk about guys like Cade McKnight who can run. They have 2 legit wide receiver options for Colton Nussmeyer to throw the football to, and Nussmeyer is leading the team not only in the passing yards, but he's leading them in rushing yards to this point as well. He has 5 total touchdowns on the year, 3 through the air, 2 on the ground. I think Nussmeyer, of course, that's a famous name now because of Garrett Nussmeyer and his father as well, Doug Nussmeyer, who played very well at the collegiate level. Colton trying to find that same sort of mentality for the Marauders this early in the year.
And, of course, Doug Nussmeyer, former quarterbacks coach here in Dallas, and now the quarterbacks coach down for Kellen Moore, offensive coordinator for Kellen Moore, down with the New Orleans Saints. So a name to keep an eye on, Colton Nussmeyer, a junior quarterback at Marcus. All right, District 8-6A, the Arlington schools, the Grand Prairie schools. We've got the Arlington High Colts, coached by Scott Peach, son of the legendary Eddie Peach, playing at the Gopher Warrior Bowl against South Grand Prairie.
Is this your favorite stadium in the Metroplex?
It's got to be.
I think it might be
down.
mine.
Yeah.
It's just it's that classic look, and this is a classic rivalry for it to be played in. Arlington won this matchup last year. Of course, all these teams have really played each other in this district alignment. 60-24 was the final score last year. Arlington missed an opportunity to make a statement early in the campaign when their game against Marcus was canceled due to weather. Now they have a chance to make a statement against South Grand Prairie. Max Revere runs the ball exceptionally well, but he's one of 2 capable running backs. Jamar Burton also has over 200 yards and 2 touchdowns, along with Revere, who has 296 yards and 5 touchdowns on the season. They're going to run the football and trying to hold that time of possession and try and lead things on, maybe bleed that clock a little bit, because South Grand Prairie can score. They can get up and down the field. They've scored 72 points, 61 points, 59 points so far this season. The South Grand Prairie side has no fear when it comes to putting points on the scoreboard. Ryan Goss has 2 carries, 88 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's 44 yards per carry, and he's not even their leading rusher. Josiah Lucas, who's committed to Texas State, is another guy that they really like to hand the football off to. So both teams will try and establish that ground game early. South Grand Prairie is a team that certainly has the talent to do so, and I said Josiah Lewis, he's a running back that's committed to San Diego State, not down in San Marcos, but San Diego State is where he's headed. It's going to be a fun matchup between the two.
And it looks like South Grand Prairie has it back after some rebuilding years with the point totals that they are putting on the board so far this season. All right, we're just getting started here on Friday Night Stars, brought to you by Whataburger. When we come back, it's the Showdowns at the Star. We check in on Frisco ISD in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Try the all-new Prickly Pear Raspberry Whata-Fresher, made with real raspberry. It's refreshing and ready for you now at Whataburger.
Time to feature the Showdowns at the Star this week. We are just moments away from kickoff inside Ford Center, just down the Nike Star Walk here at the Star in Frisco. It's the Lone Star Rangers unbeaten on the season against Frisco Heritage tonight. And then tomorrow night, Frisco ISD featured again when the Independence Knights take on the Liberty Redhawks. We'll welcome you back here to Friday Night Stars on a Thursday night. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. We're here each and every Thursday night here on TXA 21. And Kyle, how about those Lone Star Rangers? Jeff Rayburn, he has put quite a dynasty together there.
Even coming off of a down year in their regard, they reload and they continue to recharge. Even without Florida commit and a 5-star type of player in Davian Gross, they continue to just put up incredible numbers. They're ranked number 2 in the state in Class 5A Division I. They've outscored their opposition 160-28 through their first couple games of the season. And you might say, oh, they haven't played anybody yet. Wrong. They have a better point differential than 12-time state champion Aledo at this point in time, which is the only team ranked above them in the standings. I think this is a team that Coach Rayburn really looks at as another team that can possibly make a deep run into the postseason, especially if they get Gross back. He's been dealing with an injury. Davian Gross rated the 3rd best athlete in the nation, 6th best overall player in Texas in the class of 2026, and they're winning despite not having him on the field right now.
And as you saw there, that was a season opener against Argyle, another perennial power, and Lone Star really showed what he can do even in the season openers, continued throughout the season. They'll make a deep playoff run, I predict. All right, let's stay in Frisco ISD. Let's check in on those Liberty Redhawks.
Being here in Frisco ISD, probably one of the biggest things is teaching them how to be men of character. And making sure they're taking care of business, not necessarily just on the football field, but when they're not in sports as well. Just for these kids, when they leave here, not every kid's going to be playing sports, but they get the opportunity to have the baseline, the fundamentals, to have success when they leave here.
Red Hawk identity on defense, it's definitely flying around. Our coaches definitely strive for us to make, team tackles and always swarm to the ball on defense, and there's definitely an emphasis to always, take 3 hard steps to the ball, regardless if it's on the opposite side of the field from you.
Just get anyone the ball, and if anyone gets the ball, you got to go make a play. You got to go block after someone catches the ball, because you never know when the ball can come back your way.
I think our identity in the passing game is just making the DB wrong, regardless of what choice they make. We have a lot of choice routes, and then that just allows us to really play free and just create with what we have.
Man, we have so many pieces. One of the biggest things, a young man y'all heard from, is Matthew McLean, and him coming back to us from Prestonwood Christian Academy and getting a chance to play with his brother and the rest of his friends that he grew up from Taylor Elementary School to Fowler Middle School, and just overall the brotherhood that they've created with each other.
All right, real quick, Kyle, best player to come out of Liberty High School.
2011 Liberty graduate Jay Ajayi won a Super Bowl.
There you go.
Hey, Evan Stewart's still playing at the collegiate level too. Don't forget about Evan, but Jay Ajayi by far.
All right, very good. All right, we continue here on Friday Night Stars in just a moment. We take a trip to Tarrant County. We head to Euless and check in on those Trinity Trojans next.
This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Introducing the all-new Whataburger Bacon Wrangler Double. Big Texas flavor, made hot and fresh for a limited time, only at Whataburger.
Believe in certain things, but I think the locker room right now is really kept us together. Talk about being a player-led football team. This is definitely a player-led football team. I feel like I can throw the whistle away sometimes, and they handle certain things. But it's a really good, just attention to detail football team right now.
Riley Dodge has a veteran team at Southlake Carroll that made it all the way to the state championship game in Class 6A Division II last year and ranked #1 in the state, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Allen off to a big start this season as well. You got Prosper and Waxahachie from the area cracking the Class 6A top 10 as we welcome you back here to Friday Night Stars, brought to you by Whataburger. Bill Jones, Kyle Youmans, and Southlake Carroll coming off a big win last week against Trinity.
Yeah, 44-6, and they dominated that football game against a team that had previously only dominated the other teams that they had seen on their schedule. This might be the year where Southlake Carroll is back to their early 2000s level of dominance. I mean, they've got all sorts of weapons across the field. I think it starts with Brock Boyd, of course, the commit to Oklahoma State, 24 catches, 341 yards, and 5 touchdowns this season. He's the all-time leader in receiving yards throughout the year, and that doesn't even mention the other weapons that the Carroll Dragons are dealing with this season. They have a chance to go win the state championship, so the fact that they're ranked #1 in the 6A ranks, not surprising at this point in time. What is surprising is just how much parity there is at the Class 6A level. I don't think we're done seeing upsets. I don't think we're done seeing new names emerge in that top 10 list that we just looked at, but I think Southlake Carroll's the team that's going to help really set the tone from the get-go.
And that Ohio State commit, Brock Boyd, that you just talked about, he just this past week became the all-time receptions leader at Southlake Carroll. The team that they played last week, the Trinity Trojans of Coach Aaron Lineweaver, off to a great start this season. And Johnny Resendez checked in on them.
If you want to see the definition of no nonsense with your own eyes, look no further than a Euless Trinity football practice.
He's going in here! Block his ass!
We just have a standard, and we don't ever want to go below the standard. We always want to push each other to be the best that we can be.
On this field, you're going to hit, you're going to run, and you're definitely going to sweat. The players will be the first to tell you it's hard, but they'll also be first to say they wouldn't change a thing.
If we're not practicing what we practice, then when it comes to Friday, we're not going to be able to dominate as a team. So being able to push each other as a team it helps. If one is down during the game, you always have someone to pick them back up.
Euless Trinity is one of the top 6A schools in the state. One of the reasons why is the team's upperclassmen. The Trojans are returning a majority of their starters on both sides of the ball from last year's regional semifinalist team.
Maintaining that chemistry from last year has been honestly really easy. Us on offense and defense, we know each other really well, especially the returners.
We're slowly starting to pick it up, looking faster, picking up on smaller mistakes that we made earlier in the season. But as we go on farther into the season, we'll be unstoppable.
We have this saying called Enom, it's not about me, so, that plays a part in how he wants us to be.
Now, this batch of players were only toddlers when the Trojans won 3 state titles between 2005 and 2009. Now that the spotlight is on them, this team says they cherish putting on that uniform every Friday.
It's a good feeling when you go out there. It's all that people cheering for you, especially the little kids, my little brother, all the people out there, they're all supporting that one team, Trinity Trojans.
You can find people cheering you on just walking down the street. Sometimes I'm walking down the street and somebody goes, Calvadon, we see you on Friday. I remember when I was younger, I used to see the football parade, they would come down my street. And I would just look up to those guys, hoping I could be like them one day, and now I'm here.
Reporting in Euless, Johnny Resendez, CBS Sports, Texas.
Trinity's got it going on this season. We wrap up Friday Night Stars in just a moment.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. We're celebrating 75 years of giving the people exactly what they order, 24/7. That's the Whataburger way.
As we close out Friday Night Stars, Kyle Youmans, check out District 10-6A.
Yeah, this is a fun one. You take a look at those teams that are undefeated in non-district play, like North Forney and Royce City. They've got some tough matchups this week. North Forney takes on Forney, who of course is 3-1, and then Rockwall at 2-2. But one of those wins, Bill Jones, was against North Crowley, so you cannot count out the Rockwall Yellow Jackets. This district is wide open, top to bottom.
And you cannot count out Friday Night Stars to keep you posted throughout the season here. For Kyle Youmans, I'm Bill Jones. We appreciate you joining us here for Friday Night Stars, and we will see you again next week. Happy high school footballing out there.